now see the value, looking at everybody's grip later. Okay, so let's look at a couple of things. All right, Andrew. I'm on the bottom. Now, to be honest, there's a few things that she could try and submit me with from here. I wouldn't recommend the cross collar choke from here, just because she's stretched out and she's at a distance here. That being said, I have seen people get tapped out from here. It shouldn't happen, but you know, her probability of success gets lower and lower the more experience they get. If I'm a complete beginner and I didn't know anything, I'd be going, ooh, and then you just put it on. Horrible, right? But if you stretch yourself out for the cross collar choke, I mean, all I have to do is extend myself and then put it on. There's very little chance of a choke happening. She needs her arms for one thing, and that's to get out of it. So by putting her hands on my hips or whatever, or grabbing the collars here, she postures herself into a strong position here, which now makes her resilient to me attacking her. So for example, if I were to cross collar choke here, I'm really stretched out. I'm mirroring what she's doing to me. So for me to succeed in submitting her, I have to bring her down to this level, which I have access. But by her putting her hand on my belly and locking out the arm, I can't pull her down, and now becomes a problem for me. So that's where her grip is useful in a defensive capacity. There is also an attacking capacity. For example, if she were to grip here and push this forward into my neck and straight arm and stand up and do a push choke, that's a potential submission, okay? Again, it's one of those things that has a less likelihood of success the more experienced your opponent. Anyway, the most important thing is a defensive capacity. So for me, I need to break this. If I see this happening, I need to break this. Yes, I could threaten with a collar choke, but she can also defend with this hand here, or she tries to grip back and rip it off, etc., etc. But I have two hands, and once she's done this, one hand is missing, so I'm numerically at an advantage. So my job is to get rid of this grip, and we're going to talk about this today. There's many ways to get rid of this grip. A very simple way is just to use two hands. What I like to do is I raise my hips up and push up in the air. Now it's important that you just go, oh great, I've got rid of the grips. No. You have to do something. This is where your knowledge as a guard player can come into play. So once I get rid of the grip here, I choose what happens next. I can either take a hand over here, or I can take a hand over here, or I can push it back, or I can do it over here. Now admittedly, some of that is dictated by how she reacts. So when I spot on Andrew, let's say, and I take this off, what's your reaction? Yeah, she's going to pull it back. That's fine, I go with it, I pull it back here, which gives me access to all sorts of attacks from here, all right? But let's assume our opponent is fairly neutral in that regard, and you have this. We're going to look at one. Two hands, I raise my belly up, and then as my belly goes down, I'm back up again. So you have the two counter forces here. I'm going to take my opposite hand and bring it over here. Now I have a hand free here. Her arm is reaching right across her body. This immediately puts her posture in a difficult position, plus her angle of attack is veering towards that side, which means I can start attacking here. So what we're going to do now is reach over here, over the back of her neck, and I'm going to grab her wrist. All right? We'll just leave it there for now, because there's some beginners and I don't want to add too many details. Now, for people who don't have gis, you can do the same thing. We can go underneath 2-on-1. A 2-on-1 grip is very useful. And what I'm doing, rather than pushing up, because she would not be gripping if I didn't have a gi, she would just be putting a hand here. But this is equally serves the same purpose. For example, if I want to grab her neck, she just postures a straight arm and stops me from grabbing her. So you can either just slip it here, but I find this not effective. You take a good 2-on-1 grip. But tummy up, back down, and you just wrench the hand over in that direction. Now because I have one grip against one arm, it's not as strong, so you have to be fairly fast on this one. Reach over, and over grip here. I don't think it matters whether you do the 5-finger grip or the thumb grip. Personally, I think this gives me a little more control. And you pull this tight across here, and we're just going to leave it at that. So there's two versions. One with the gi, here, and the one without the 2-on-1 grip, wrapping over there. Very simple, but there's at least 4 or 5 steps in there, so I hope everyone got that. Did you all see that? Everyone else that? Anyone want to see that again? Very simple. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. I'm going to look at the same thing again with a little more detail. This is useful for a lot of you who are already used to the Coast Guard. For those who are new, this might be over your head because it's an additional level of fine detail. But for those who already play the gi a lot, who've been with me for a while, this is the make or break for you, this kind of detail. I'm going to show various things that you can do to improve your success. Now if I just lift up the thing here and I just shove his hand over there, alright, notice where his hand is. His hand is over my hand. I have literally a fingertip grip here, alright? And you know, I do a lot of pull-ups, so I'm quite good with my grips, but no matter, I'm going to try really hard to hold this grip up. And he just defends it very easily. Just to show you again what I did there. I just did what most people would do instinctively. I lift, as I've been taught, and I just bring it over there. Surely that works because his arm is across his body, he's weaker, in a weaker position. But my grip is barely holding on. Really holding on really strongly, and even without the use of your other hand, you just square up. You see, he brings my arm back around again. So the very simple hack to this is as you bring it over, look, I misdirect his hand underneath my arm. And then I punch over there. The other additional details, I'm just shuffling sideways here. So I'm literally leaning on my shoulder and my ribs. Now, as Wayne tries to square up, it's far more efficient for me. He will eventually get there eventually. I just remain static here because he's quite strong, he's bigger. But mechanically, I'm in a really good position here. So just to show you again the difference, this is like the... Who's playing that music? Interesting, okay. This is the one where I just punch it across. His hand is close to me. This is the one I recommend you do. His hand is not close to me. My hand is close to me. There's also a little shuffle, so I'm giving the best opportunity I can to not allow him to square up to me. Now, the second part of this is I'm reaching over his neck, fishing over his forearm here, right by the wrist. I can use 2 hands if I want, but ultimately it's this arm that does the work. Wrap it close to me. Now notice my chest. It's on his tricep and shoulder. I'm not doing this technique out here. See the space here? That's not what I want. I want to be here. So now, again, this is to avoid Wayne squaring up to me. His shoulders are pointing at 45 degrees. All right. Okay, let's proceed on to the next part of this one. This hand has a job to do. Okay. This goes under. He's already knows. This goes underneath his thigh. I don't grab. I don't hold. It's simply there as a placeholder. If Wayne lifts up his body, you can see where my hand is. Yes. It's just there. It's just like a stiff arm right here. I'm not grabbing. So, just to recap, this is the position that we're in. It's very hard to defend this space here. I'm going to reach in underneath. It's just here. Here's the tricky bit. I open up my legs and I want to look over there. When I look over there, I then direct my hand and my leg in the direction where I was looking, and we end up in this top position here. Again, this hasn't changed. My chest is on the tricep and I'm squeezing down. He hasn't got the ability to defend from this position. And now we're in a superior position, we point to sweep points from that. Let's get back there. I haven't even got time to explain the noogie version anyway. So, we're assuming that his grip is in the grip of death and I do have the ability to punch up and get rid of that grip. There are some people you'll find, and you'll have to unfortunately learn a bit of sensitivity, who have the grip of death and they put their weight into it. Try as you might, you can't do it. That's going to happen, and there are other tactics to deal with that, but that's not for the focus for today. Let's assume you've caught it fairly early on, or you just realise that it isn't a good grip. I'm punching across, but I'm allowing his hand to go through first, one-handed, and my arm is stiff and straight. There's a little shuffle to the side, I'm now reaching right over, notice my chest, really engaging here, wrapping across his neck. Next part is this hand is free, it goes underneath his thigh. Open my legs, look, sweep my legs, there's a sort of scissoring action. And I'm leaning on his head and his tricep, and we're finishing here. A very good dominant position. I just want to add one thing, guys who don't have ease. 2-on-1 grip. A good 2-on-1 grip is like this. Like you're holding a samurai sword. Okay? This is not a 2-on-1 grip. You effectively only got your thumbs to break his. So if you just put your weight into me, there's no grip, you're just placing your weight into me. My thumb is not strong. A good 2-on-1 grip, 2 here, is much stronger. Same thing happens. And then we're here. Okay guys, lots of information there. We'll probably. Anyone have any problems doing this sweep?
A little bit, yeah.
Little bit, okay. So let's talk about the problems. Or Charlie. Lighter, and it's easier to demonstrate than that. In principle, this sweep works against people much bigger than you. And there are a lot of fundamentals to how and why it works, which I won't explain because you're not scared. Let's talk about the actual sweep itself. I've got to this stage. Now, a lot of you are forgetting to shuffle around to face the fist here, turning my body on my side slightly. If you remain with your back flat on the ground, you can, if your opponent lets you, you can still do this. You can still do this, but you'll find the next bit hard. And Charlie, just don't let me sweep you, just remain base. I can just about do it if I use a lot of strength. But you find that you have to use a lot of swing, and I'm just too flat. Maybe you want to put a foot on the ground here and punch up a bit, possibly. But let's also understand that the opponent is not just going to lie there. So he's going to be fighting to get good posture, he's not going to let me, and eventually he's going to fight his way out. So everything starts from the beginning. So here I've got a good, long, stiff arm here. Reach over, I wrapped it really tight, my chest is very tight. I've turned in slightly. I've reached under his thigh very deep, but crucially, what's the reason for reaching underneath? Does anybody know who's not got striking power? Why am I reaching underneath? It's certainly not to lever him up. Does anybody know why I'm reaching underneath him? Any suggestions? To hold it down. I'll tell you why. It's to change the angle of my body to him. See where I am now? I'm almost perpendicular. My legs are open and it doesn't take much of a swing because where the head goes, the body will follow. The sweep actually goes this direction. Do you see where he's going? Where his head is going? When your back is flat and you're trying to do the same thing, you're actually trying to sweep him sideways like this, where his head is going that way. You're going to sweep a lot of body mass. And there's more ability for him to resist, so just resist this one. I can't. When I turn, just resist this one. Well, he can't, he's already going. See, I just turn, see? So this fundamental relies on all sweeps, which is to go as far underneath the centre of gravity as I can. So the whole thing again, you guys are going to do the whole thing again, but we're going to add this little detail. This you should know, is passing through where the hand goes underneath, you should know by now know. As you do that, see what I'm doing? I'm kind of rotating my legs, which now allow me to face to the other side. I'm over gripping the forearm, pulling in, my chest is in contact with his tricep. This hand, which goes under the thigh, doesn't just serve a positioning purpose, it allows me to go right underneath him. Open my legs, and it's just to guide his head. Now think about your opponent. Again, where the head goes, the body will follow, so you're actually trying to make him move to the wall there, where the top of his head is pointing. There, but it looks like I'm going sideways. And then we're ending up here. And we're just going to remain here. Now, just to mention, this isn't a submission. If you guys are tapping from here, good, well done. It's a controlling position, all right? So just being here alone, fantastic. You are in control, and you can take your time as to what to do next. Which you may cover it in a minute. But I want to see that sweep done perfectly, so it's all about changing the angle. You want to see that, or are you okay? No. Does everyone understand that point? Yes? Good luck, let's go. One technique. I've probably put in about the details, probably about 8 or 9 core fundamental details in there that apply across the board to a lot of other techniques. It's just a matter of remembering them and applying them, which is the challenge. What was your question again? Yeah, the question
As I go up onto the side,
yeah. Oh, I know.
to do
Yeah,
the gift wrap,
okay, so
I'm pulling back onto myself. It seems a bit easier a little bit.
So what a lot of people were eventually getting, and perhaps I didn't vocalise it, but once they've done this, here, and they've done this, they find that that person's head is down here. And then whilst they can fish for the underhook here, the head is still on that side. Which means when they do the eventual thing and they followed all the instructions, they looked it away, they tried to move it, it's hard. So I did do this, and if you watch the video, you'll see me do it, but I didn't mention it because you know when you do things and you don't even realise you do them. So when I fished underneath, I popped underneath. See what I did with his head? So rather than sweep like this, I could probably just about do it. I bridged up, popped underneath, and now I'm underneath him. That's what I keep sort of reiterating, that I'm underneath him, which allows me to go here, and look where Charlie's head is. He's way over there, which means it's a small matter to make him fall, and he even puts it on there, and it makes no difference. Alright? So, no, I'll tell you what else to do. Last 5 minutes will be it'd be boring spending one technique. So we've done this, we've reached in, but I miss my chance and he fights and he squares up again. He rips this out, you immediately start attacking here. Bring this down and start attacking for a basic cross-collar choke. Because he's so worried about re-establishing his position, he's using a lot of strength to bust out of there. See, look, you're not going to get it. Back straight in there. So it's an opportunistic choke. To show you the mechanics of the choke again, fingers go into the collar really deep. Yeah. This one goes over his head to the other side, and I much favour the quick and dirty one where you just grab. And you aren't pulling your elbows out, please don't do this, you're pulling your elbows in and tightening the noose like this. So the whole thing again, you can just do like 1 or 2 reps, we don't have a lot of time. Push over to the side, reaching over, he's fighting, let him fight. See what I did with this hand? Pulling down already, here, bang. See if that works for you. It's a nice combo move. Yes? 3, 2, 1, let's go.